All right. Sweet internet gods, baby Jesus. Let's go ahead and get this thing working here. Let's try again. All right, warriors. So the internet gods were striking us down. I don't know if it's because of certain words
There we
used or
go. Now
whatever
we're
it
showing up
may
live.
be,
Perfect.
but things were just not working there. So hopefully we can get this thing going and we can start doing what we're supposed to do. So if Tanner can jump back on, that would be lovely. Let's do this. Go here and here. All right. So let's do this and try this again and hopefully make it work.
Yeah.
So the goal here today is to be able to do a Q&A, ask questions, and make stuff work. And for the love of sweet internet Odin, can we please let the internet work and not mess with people trying to get involved? I'm sure there's a lot of people who have a lot of these issues when they're doing it.
For sure.
So in which case, I was really enjoying where that conversation was going.
Me too. Me too.
Let's see. There we go. All right.
Are we back?
Let's try it again.
All right. I think we're good.
Sheesh.
Can you hear me now?
Sheesh.
I was getting like a 30-second delay from you guys. That was the worst I've ever had as far as the lag is concerned.
We were getting it even between us.
Well, hopefully we're good now.
Yeah, I think we're good.
So yeah, it sounds a lot better, but very cool. It's awesome to hear about that TED Talk thing. Let's talk about a couple other things while the other things. What's up, Brian? Okay, now our warriors are jumping in. Now people are starting to see it.
Yeah.
Right on. There's Randy. There's Ryan. We got people jumping in. Okay, so let's go ahead and have some questions for you too, because I'm excited to see more things. What are some things that you would consider like some of your like? These were success stories that really like get me jazzed. If I gotta tell you some of my favorite, like this was a guy who was like there was no hope, and now this guy is doing great. Like, what are some of your like favorite stories that you've got? And I'm sure you have a lot, but like, it's like picking who's your favorite kid. You're like, I love them all.
Yeah. No, I have one that comes top of mind pretty easily. It's a client of mine who he's got young kids, 3 kids under the age of like 12. And we were doing a call kind of nearing the end of our time working together. And I was asking him how he was feeling about all the progress that he'd made. And he started to get pretty emotional and told me that the nature of the relationship that he had with his kids had changed because they no longer saw their dad as somebody who put on a face or put on something different to go out with the rest of the world and then was somebody entirely different when he was home with them, but they saw that he cared about them and the way that he presented himself to them and had that respect for them the same that he did for people at work or his wife when they went out on a date or anything else. And so it actually drew his children closer together and made them feel more of his love because he wasn't just blah in front of his kids all the time. And he was still wearing casual stuff. It was just stuff that fit better. It was better quality material, better construction, all of that. And it changed the nature of the relationship with his kids. Man, that's a long lag.
I think that's pretty awesome. Hopefully the internet's holding out because it started to break up a little. Please.
But I think we got the.
But I got the gist of it.
Yes,
We're like, you
awesome.
helped him get that relationship with his kids back. That's pretty incredible moment. That's like a super dad victory.
Mm-hmm.
I would like a super dad victory with this internet today.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Come on, internet. Come on, internet. It's frustrating. This is not normally the way that it goes, but well, I guess you know what? Let's be real. Every guest we've ever had, this has had some sort of glitch. Can we be fair?
Yeah, that's true.
Can we be fair here? If we really have to look at it, TikTok sure doesn't do well with guests.
Yeah.
Unless they're doing some sort of weird thing where they're doing votes for nonsense. Then
That's
for
true.
some reason it seems to work just fine for that.
Oh man.
All right, Tanner, are we freezing for you? Am I on a massive delay?
No, you guys you're coming across loud and clear.
Until it's there. And then Christy, go ahead and ask your question. I saw you had a question there. And so yeah, I'd like to see this. Yeah, but everything's just this is making me sad, Panda. This is going to be the most interesting video we ever post. That could be like, I don't know what they were talking about because it kept freezing.
Can you guys hear me now?
Dan, are you still freezing, bud?
You guys are coming in smooth. So I wonder if
he's
it's
trying to figure out his stuff too. He's muted at the moment. All right, Christy, if you got questions, I see stuff firing through here, but not firing through here.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me at all?
In and out though, and also I can see questions showing up on her thing, but not showing up on ours.
They said that we're coming through okay. He's not coming through. It's taking about 30 seconds lagging.
I wonder what the deal is with this.
Mm-hmm. We used to go live. What was the issue? Do you remember? Maybe turning Wi-Fi off?
Oh, right. Yeah, we used to have issues with it. Sometimes it was the Wi-Fi. Sometimes it was other things.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had to do that too. Tanner, maybe if you can even try toggling, like turn the Wi-Fi off and just go cellular. Sometimes that helps. We've had all kinds of issues doing live videos, so it's hard to say what things are going to be like. But I also see the comments aren't coming in, but the comments are coming in on yours there. So something isn't right.
Yeah, I've tried toggling a few times to get between cellular and Wi-Fi.
I can't tell here.
It sounds like
your
it's not
phone's
changing.
Also freaking out too, so it's hard to. We got no point of reference.
Yeah,
I'm flying.
It's like we can get the comments here, but I can't answer here. I don't see the video working. The video, I have comments, and then. What did he say?
So fun.
I don't know. Come on, internets. Come on.
Oh man.
We're just trying to help people here. Let's seriously empathize with the internet. Internet, listen. Our goal
shouldn't be that hard.
To help as many people as possible. Tanner's trying to help. We're trying to help. But I just need this internet. I need you to work with us here. So internet gods, don't sabotage us. Keep working with us. We're doing good things here. We're trying to help. Let us help. Help us help them. Please, internet. Do you hear us? What do you think, internet? Is it?
I think it's gonna work.
I think it's trying. It's like, oh, we get what you guys are doing. Okay, I get what you're trying to do. There we go. It hurt us. The internet.
Boom.
Thank you. Internet.
Thank you. Are we clear?
Everything just kicked back on.
Can you guys hear me?
It just cleared up. I had to just do an internet prayer, and now it worked.
Yes. Yeah. I turned off my Wi-Fi too on my phone and closed it out. So that's why I'm like, I don't even know at this point. Yeah.
All right. Internet prayer works. If any of you guys think manifestation or prayer doesn't work, we just showed it right there.
Right. You're welcome.
They're definitely going to shut us down for that.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Listen, there's too many M words that shut us down.
Yeah.
Like you said masculine, I said manifestation. We're done. So now it's working. Thank you so much. I don't know if it had anything to do with that at all.
I don't know either.
Who knows? Any case,
we're back.
Internet prayer for the win. We're back. I see our warrior comments. And if any of you guys have any questions that came up, we just saw them fly up really quickly. Let's see. Freezing. Nope. Everyone was. Look, what's cool about this is everybody who's like our warriors that jump in here, we're all heroes. We're all problem solvers. And so I can just see in the comments, everyone's giving suggestions to try to fix things.
So true. So true.
Awesome. Cool. So now we're back. Tanner. All right. So you helped one guy. You pulled him out of, I guess in this case, that would be his own limbo, where he wasn't really moving forward, backwards, just kind of there.
Mm-hmm.
And you helped this guy connect with his kids, and now he's able to be the dad that he was always like he always knew he could be, and it's just a small, subtle changes that make it so it raised his confidence and helped him to be the man he's more confident in his own skin being, right?
Yep.
Those are powerful wins, man. That's a big win right there.
Well, that's what's so fun about this stuff is a lot of guys have a tendency to feel like, I did a thread on this on Twitter last week where fitness transformations give us kind of a false expectation of what real transformation is, where it's like we expect to see the guy that drops 100 pounds and goes to 8% shredded. And if we don't see that, then you're not really seeing any meaningful change. But a lot of the change that we experience, whether it's with our style or our relationships or really any of these other things that matter, a lot of times it's just a subtle tweak and it opens up a ton of different pathways and it really has this massive impact. And so this is what's fun about what I get to do is a lot of times guys think, well, I don't want to hire Tanner because I like my clothes and I don't want somebody who's going to put me in suits all the time, or somebody who's going to make me look like I went on Queer Eye for the Straight Guy, or somebody who's going to make me look like I just pulled things out of GQ. And that's not what I do. We're not after big changes like that. We're after really good incremental changes that open up all of these doors of confidence, self-respect, perception, communication. And it's just getting that right dosage to tweak things. And then you get really big results out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's same thing with even what we do too. Even removing one small piece, like just saying like, I'm going to teach you how to overcome doubt.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to remove doubt I'll show you how to beat it. It's going to come back every day, but I'll show you how we work so you can beat it. Even that one thing, it's just one piece out of all of the pieces, now changes your entire swagger on the way you approach your problems and the way you handle your goals and dreams. It doesn't have to be all of them at once, that one little thing, but I do like your assessment of like, here's one thing I think too with that fitness analogy is people got to lose 100 pounds to have a transformation, but there's no talk about what mindset were you in to gain the 100 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hopefully that went through.
Yeah, I can hear you.
You know, all right. I don't know if there's a delay there, but like people have a mindset. They gain 100 pounds of extra weight, and we don't talk about what were you going through to get that to happen.
Yeah.
Like, you just lost weight? You're like, no, the hero's journey, this big success story that you're looking at right now. I got my ass kicked for a few years to be able to even have to overcome that to even be a success story, which is even more frustrating for people who are they're just off the mark a little bit and they didn't gain 200 pounds, but they're still like mentally not healthy. They don't get that transformation, so people don't get to cheer them on.
Right. Yeah.
It's a little tweak.
100%.
So it's life changing if you like the way you just explained it. I think I agree with you on that.
I love it.
Yeah. So, Christy, the anime geek, you had a question. Is this the question? I'm asking a million times, but I'm stuck with my 18-year-old son. Was there a question that was asked?
I didn't see it, Christy. So if you can ask it again.
Maybe it is our Wi-Fi.
Could be.
Maybe it is our Wi-Fi. So we like to see those questions come in. Thank you for the likes, guys. We appreciate you guys hammering the buttons. And also hit some shares. That gets people to jump on too with us.
So, Tanner, have you had a situation where you're helping a guy better himself, right? Now he's starting to change the way that he's dressing and feeling more confident in that, but then getting pushback from his other half?
Realistically, that happened a few times when I was early on. That happened a few times when I was early on in my career, but I learned through hard experience that if we're making a big enough and a drastic enough change that we're getting that kind of pushback, especially in a healthy relationship, then we're not actually making the change that we're trying to. There's a misalignment between the way that he's dressing and the way that he actually is. And most often the response is actually very positive from spouses or girlfriends, where they will say, you finally look like the man that I know you are on the inside. Now I finally get to see it on the outside. And so it's more often than not really, really fun, big support as opposed to resistance that comes from the other half.
That's awesome. That's fantastic to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a good like coach learning lesson
Yeah,
too.
it is, because I know, with Rick coaching the men, then all of a sudden their wives were saying, wait, hold on, I can see the changes that you're making. I want to be a part of this. And which is such a beautiful thing to see, because at the end of the day, you have both people supporting each other. That's awesome.
Totally. Yep. I was just talking to one of my clients today who was telling me that he's finding it very, very odd that now when he's with his wife and she's shopping for clothes, that when she asks his opinion, he actually has the ability to give an opinion because he knows what to look at and what to think about and what to talk about. And so he's not just frustrated or like trying to find the nearest couch to sit on and hide in his phone or anything else like that. And so it's made that another level for them to be able to connect on, and not for him to fake a connection on, but to genuinely enjoy that connection with her.
That's a good call.
Yeah.
And this is where we go too, where like the selling points that you don't realize are selling points is it makes it so when we go shopping together, I become useful.
Yeah.
Not only useful to her, but you enjoy it for you. Like it's not just that it's one way and you're like, okay, finally I'm useful, but like you end up enjoying the experience just as much. So it's a win for both of you.
Yeah, because you can be like, all right, so aesthetically, this looks like it's fitting here, but missing here. Also, where are you going to wear this? And does it feel like you? Does it feel like you,
yeah,
babe?
And I'm sure it's probably fun too if you guys if they have an event to go together.
Yeah.
And they want to make sure like they're complimenting each other. That's what I would be thinking about too. So, but still feeling good about what you wear.
You like when we do matching stuff, though.
Yeah.
No, don't do matching
Tanner.
That's a bad idea.
What do you think? She loves it. She loves it.
Okay.
No.
Like
Rick, then you're just an accessory.
Yeah.
Listen, sometimes I don't mind being arm candy. I can handle my own. I'm all right.
I don't like when we match like that, because by no means are we both walking out with
same dress. What's
red
up?
shirts
right.
Like, I don't like that. But if he's wearing a tie that has like, let's say, purple in it, and I have like a purple dress or wearing something purple, like I kind of like that.
Yeah.
But by no means am I like we have to wear the same color. Yes. Yeah, it's complimenting. We're not walking around a pair of overalls together.
Is that a no-go? Is that not a good deal?
That's doable. That's doable. Some intentionality is good, but you don't want to look like a Disneyland family that you're all wearing matching shirts together so you don't get lost.
So no matching Disney shirts.
No.
Good to know.
I've always said that. I'm like, we are never. I've said this since the beginning. I'm like, we're never going to be the family that's like, mom, dad, child 1, child 2, child. Like I don't do that. I can't do that.
Nope, not at all.
Yeah,
it's not for me.
Looks like our lag is pretty solid, huh, guys? We turned the lag all the way up. Is it working? I just want to make sure you guys are getting a lot of lag. That's what we were going for. We talked to the internet guys. They said it'll hook us up. So, but I like that. That's pretty fun to do. That's a good question, babe. There's a question here. You were talking about, like, how do you help a young man who's going through going into manhood? So, one of our people has an 18-year-old son, and there's a lot of influence, especially to be, one way or the other, whether it be emo or go straight street, and you got to be hood. Like, what's your impression to help young guys from wearing the hoods?
This is a hard one, and I even think about this from how I was as a teenage emo kid, or like the skate punk scene or things like that. And I remember for a long time, the resistance that I would get from parents or authority figures or bosses or people at church or anything else like that would just make me dig in my heels even more. And for me, it didn't really start to change until I was a little bit older than where your son is. I think I was about 23. I was working at a credit union, and I had been promoted into a loan officer position as opposed to just being a teller. And I had really, really long hair. And one day my boss came up to me and told me, she said, look, I got to be honest with you. but a lot of our members have a hard time working with you because they don't see you as somebody who's actually capable of doing the job because you don't fit the parts. And so when she presented it in a way that it was actually not, I don't like this, or this isn't how we do things, or this is against the rules, but it was, this is how it's hurting you and your goals, that's when all of a sudden the change happened for me. And so I would say the best thing that you can do for him is, one, give him as much latitude as you can, because what he's trying to do is express himself and find his own sense of self and find his own identity. That's a good thing. That should not be squashed. And if you can help him understand that his identity is bigger than belonging to this one group, or consuming this particular type of music, or belonging to the skate tribe or something else, those are fine, but his identity should be bigger and more robust than that, and his clothing can incorporate elements of that, but it should be bigger than that. He probably dresses that way because he's insecure, and so he has to really latch on to that particular group of people in order to feel like he has a sense of place. And so if you can help him develop a stronger sense of confidence, then he will naturally want to expand into more than that, especially if you help him see that what he's doing is hurting his own long-term goals, or his own perspective of what it is that he's trying to accomplish by pigeonholing himself into belonging to this one very specific group of other kids his age.
I like it. And I agree with you. So, Christy, like, there's a different translation from my side, same idea. When you are given more responsibility and empowerment, you can see how this works against your role as maybe the man of the house for him. Or it may be something where, like, hey, you're the leader as far as all of the kids in the house. And as our man of the house, as the leader, you know, you falling into trying to fall into pretending to be whatever that niche is. I'm a skater. You're not a skater. You're you. And I need you to be the best leader in the house because you're the man of the house.
Yeah,
You
be
know,
bigger than the group identity.
Yeah. And so by giving him more responsibility and empowering him to show that you believe in him, it makes it so he can go, you know what? Maybe I don't have to dress like this group says, and I can be the type of leader that helps my brothers and sisters be their authentic self too.
Yep.
Maybe there's something in there, Christy, where I give him more responsibility, but not because you're trying to give him chores, because you believe in him, and he's got to be like, you're the man, you're the guy of the house, and I gotta lean on you because you're ready for that role.
Yeah, that means more work, but also more trust. And he will know if he's getting the work without the trust, and he'll push back against that. But if he gets both the work and the trust, then that's where the sense of self will start to get bigger.
Yeah, I've seen that too. I do that even with our own warriors. Like, I give them more responsibility, and then you watch them evolve into that leadership. You know, and a lot of times people do. I've seen some of the most lazy guys at work, when they get promoted, like, all of a sudden get pretty serious about what they're doing.
Yep.
Yeah, good call. Good catch too. Yeah, what's up, Dan? Good to see you. Let's see. There's more people jumping in. You got more stuff to see. You struggle with.
It's a struggle because it feels like it put too much pressure on him to begin with. It's hard.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that empowerment is very different than pressure. Yeah. Like, we got the same thing though. We gotta make sure our girls dress like ladies.
Yeah, we do push with our girls, like, dress appropriately, like, dress like a lady. You know, that's super subjective for some people, but, you know, basically what that means is make sure that you're covered, like, you're covered up. No one needs to see your belly button. If you bend over, or, like, no one's seeing your underwear.
The leggings, everyone's trying to show their butts these days.
And I'm like, girls, leggings are not pants. Cover your butt.
Yep.
What's your opinion on the trends that are happening right now? Because there's a lot of weird transitions happening that I'm sure you have to encounter. Like, what are some of the things where you're like watching the trends that are happening where you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so looking forward to this being over?
We're in kind of a weird phase in our culture where the West used to be largely homogenous. And so trends were these big kind of like macro things that you would see go across all of society and all of culture, especially because they would come from, like, everybody watched the same 4 TV channels with the same 10 shows, and everybody went to the same movies and everything else. But with the advent of the internet and social media, we've really kind of balkanized into different cultures and subcultures. And so I actually don't think that we're going to see much more as far as like big macro trends, because there isn't a big macro culture that people belong to anymore. And so what you're going to see more and more is the separation and the really like stark delineation of these different cultures and subcultures and work industries and political affiliations and philosophical ideologies and all of that. And that's where you're going to see a lot more stark versions of different aesthetics, because people are going to be very focused on, I belong to this group or I subscribe to this ideology and I want nothing to do with those guys. They're the bad guys. And so I think that that's what we're going to see more and more, as opposed to like, the 70s, it was really big, like big lapels and leisure suits. And the 80s, it was all about neon and mullets and mustaches. And the 90s was really baggy and grunge. Like, you don't get much of that. Even if you try to go back and say, what was the trend of the 2010s? There isn't this big overarching trend, because the split had already started to happen. And I think that's just going to get wider and wider.
Yeah. One thing that I am seeing a change in men, and I don't know if I've seen, and I think you could probably say like the mullets were a thing of the past, but this is really, because like thinking back to the early 2000s till now, like I don't remember, maybe I just wasn't as aware, so maybe you can shed some light on that. But the beards, and I'm not being funny, but the beards are a trend right now for men overall. And I work in the beauty industry, so mostly with women, but I help men often too. But beards are definitely making a comeback. We have so many men coming in for beard oil, like, where can I find this stuff?
Yeah.
And men are becoming more experimental with beauty products than they were before. Just, eye cream, moisturizer, like asking more of those questions than they ever have before. So that's been interesting to see too.
Yeah, you're spot on as far as the ubiquity of beards, that's becoming more and more of a thing, especially because this is one of the things that I have to steer my clients away from. Is if you see a guy that's doing a goatee, it just screams like, I'm still trapped in the 90s. Just like if he had big mutton chop sideburns, it would be, I'm still trapped in the 70s. Right. And so maybe at some point in 10, 15, 20 years, people are going to go, oh man, you're still rocking a beard like it's 2017 or 2025. Like, what are you thinking?
It's interesting.
That's funny. Yeah. Listen, I'd be like, listen, man, I fell right in, dude.
I'm never going back.
We started that trend,
right?
That
we earned that right.
We made it happen. Some guys wish they could. That's funny.
Trends are a hard thing though, because men, especially men who are out of like, I would say like late 20s on up. Okay. You don't want to be, all right, the best way to think about this is Thomas Jefferson said, in matters of principle, stand firm as a rock, and in matters of fashion, swim with the current, right? Are you guys familiar with that quote? Most people use it as ways to just think about like, stand firm in your morals and your convictions, which is absolutely true. And the other half of it is also true, that you kind of like swim with the current. But the thing is there's not a consistent current. You can think about like a big river, that there will be certain parts where the current is stronger, other parts where it's really steady and flowing, and other parts where it gets into kind of like these dead spots. And style always changes. And when you're young and you're aggressive and you're in this kind of like new warrior energy and everything, like, play around with the trends. There's a lot of social capital. There's a lot of experimentation that you can goof around with, like, have fun with that. But as you get older, you want to move over into this slower part of the current, because if you look like you're too reliant on trends, then you get into trouble, because then you're not actually, your value isn't based on your own accomplishments and your own sense of self. It's based on your ability to predict the trends and everything else. And so that becomes a liability when you get older. But also, if you just like stand dead still in whatever the trend was at the time that you figured out what your style was, then you just look like you peaked in 1998 or 1975 or 2015 or whatever it may be, and that those were the glory days, and everything since then has just been you slowly marching your way towards death. And so you got to move a little bit, but not too fast and not too slow. And it can be a tricky thing for older, more established guys to be able to figure out.
That's good call.
Yeah, that is a good call. What the other question I have for you too is regarding labels. I know the other night you made a comment to Rick about, just the shirts that he wears, because they fit him. There's not any logos on there. They're just basic t-shirts that fit him well. But what is your opinion, or have you worked with guys that are more about the labels, like brand names, making sure things are branded? And what is your take on that?
Yeah, when I'm with guys who are that way, really, you want to steer away from it, because again, what that comes down to is your sense of self, your worth, your value is rooted in your affiliation with or your consumption of a particular product. And there's really not much that's masculine about that. Your sense of self should be rooted in your morals and your convictions, your accomplishments, your ambitions, your kindness, all of these other variables. Not that I can afford to buy this product and other people can't, therefore I'm better than you, or I heard about this band before anybody else did, therefore I'm cooler than you are, or whatever else it is. And so there's a time and a place to wear branded and graphic stuff. But most guys end up defaulting to that, and it really ends up communicating, I don't have a personality or a sense of self. I'm just a composite of all of these video games I play, or beers that I drink, or 5Ks that my company sponsored and I got a free t-shirt for.
Absolutely. Makes sense. Yeah, that's a good point. Very good point.
When you're working with people on that, here's one thing I know. I do a few exercises that are really difficult. 3 of the ones that I really have to like hammer people into getting for themselves is most people don't know their values. Like their main 2 values. When I get into it, most people don't even have the skill to go, these are actually my main 2 values. They may pick ones they like, but that's not how they operate.
Right.
Another one that gets really tricky is, do you really know your strengths and what it is that your just God-given gifts are? Most people really aren't as in tune as you would think to go like, this is what I'm naturally good at. They do with what they do, mostly what they have to do. And the reason they don't know what those things are is just like the last one, which is, what do you really want, is a stumper, because people have been taking care of other people or going with what other people have said they need or what they want you to do for so long, to say, you need to stay in your morals, your convictions, your values, your strengths. You need to be authentic to yourself. I would say, whenever I really challenge people on how much do you know about you, it ends up not even being close to what the real thing is. How do you overcome that, and when you're working with people on that?
Yeah, I do something that's fairly similar, although I guess in a little bit more roundabout way, where when guys first come on as clients, I'll have them fill out a goals and objective worksheet, and I will ask them things like, how do you want your eulogy to read? How do you want people to describe you? If your grandkids were to be able to tell a story about you, what is it that they would describe you as? What's your ideal career? How does your current career fit in with all of that? And then the follow-up question to each one of those is, how does your clothing help you with those goals? And most guys just go, dude, I've never, ever thought about how my clothing could contribute to or detract from goals. And then that's where we start to have some fun, is we got to figure out what those are. That's where we get the identity from, and then we apply the clothing to it.
Yeah.
So does it end up taking you a good amount of time to really crack down on what their true authentic wants are? Because I've had very intelligent guys work with me, and I have to like dig in like 7 layers down before they go, that is what I really want. Even one of our warriors on tonight, I got to give him praise. You talked to Perry the other day. Perry is a strong man. And so people would say that's a big boy, but he is number 26 strongest man in the world. And so he's a strong guy. And I was asking him what his wants were. And Perry, I hope I'm sharing, because this is a praise to you. And he was saying, after he was watching the way I do this with the other guys, he's like, I had to change my answer before you got to me, bro. That's going to ask me different questions. He's like, at first I thought what I wanted was like to win this championship. I thought that's what I wanted. But then I saw what you were going to do, and you were going to go in and you're going to go, what do you want? What do you get if you win that? He's like, well, if I win that, then I would get a status, or I would get money. If I get status and money, that means then I'll be able to have more freedom. If I have more freedom, that means I can spend the time that I want to with the people I care about. The people I care about is my son, and then whoever my new person is going to be. So actually what I really want is time with the people that I love. And I was like, so it has nothing to do with the championship. So what happens if you're able to take this championship then? What happens if you're able to do that? And then, like, what would you do with the status that would be different than the people who are generally in any kind of bodybuilding or powerlifting? It's a very self-centered field.
Mm-hmm.
What then could you do with this big love thing that you want to do? And he's like, if I had more status and influence, I can change the industry standard of these guys aren't always selfish. We just try and love on you, and I can try and empower and build other men up because that's what we really do. And I was like, so what you really want is more love and time with the people you care about and help other people feel more loved. And he's like, that's what I really want. You don't have to win the strongest man in the world competition to give people love. So it's those kind of things where, like, when you're working with you, like, what do you really want, bro? He's like, man, I just want to be able to get some hot chicks. And you're like, what do you really want,
what are we
bro?
really after? Or even like to reverse engineer it. I had a client that I was working with a couple weeks ago where we were going through some photos as part of one of the things. And I was at I asked these guys to give me feedback. Like, what do you like? What do you not like? Do you think you could pull this off? Do you think you couldn't? And the photo that we were looking at, the guy was wearing a sport coat and he had a turtleneck on underneath. And he says, man, I hate that turtleneck. And in my brain, I'm going, okay, that's a strong word. We got to poke that spot a little bit. And it's, okay, tell me why you hate that. And it took a good like 5 or 10 minutes of back and forth and almost this like interrogation level of conversation before we finally realized that he hates it because it's a layer that he can't shed, and it comes all the way up into his throat. And so he feels not only physically, but psychologically constricted. And one of his core values is the ability to have freedom and to be able to pivot and flow and move as he needs to, given different situations. And this turtleneck is kind of the aesthetic antithesis of that. And it's like, okay, well, it's not just the turtleneck. We're going to look at all of these other things that provide that same problem too. And it's awesome because it immediately gives us another way that we can move in a good direction on his style just by knowing that that sense of constriction is anathema to him, that he hates it.
Yeah. Was there anything in there too where, like, he's ever felt like really constrained in his past where people were holding him down in some way, shape, or form? He hated being restricted.
Dude, I'm not you. I haven't gotten that.
I'm like, where'd it come from that you can't be
right?
boxed in, Fair enough. All right, that's my bad. I'm like, who did that to you?
I just accept that for what it is and help them build a wardrobe around it. We gotta ping pong off of each other to really get these guys.
Right. You're like, I'm trying to connect with these people.
You're like, listen, I'll help you feel better and look better. If you want to get rid of it for good, though, you can talk to Rick.
And then come back to me for another round, right?
Right, exactly.
You'll be like, I know who I am. I'm ready, Tanner.
But there is something to that where in my early days, and I'm sure that there was like this for you, where you don't really know how to screen for clients. You don't really know kind of like the guys that you're really trying to actively like, I don't want to work with these guys. Yeah. And I found that guys that haven't already gotten some wins, whether that's in their finances or their fitness or their relationships or something else, but they're looking at their appearance as kind of like the first thing that's going to give them a sense of confidence. Those guys don't do well when it comes to this because they don't have any real sense of self that they can actually build an aesthetic off of. And so, yeah, I'm not at your level, but I'm also not at like, we're going to create this persona that then can help you get to this. Like, you got to have at least some sense of who you are, some sense of pride in who you are and everything else before you're going to do any good working with somebody like me.
Absolutely. Makes sense.
It's not that easy, though. It's a really tricky thing, especially with the influences that's out there. People are all trying to be like that guy and be like that guy. And I've even had, like, I got one of my clients, he's a millionaire. And he's like, man, I really got caught up in trying to follow these images of these other guys. I got really wrapped up in, like, that guy says I'm supposed to dress like this. And this guy says that's what a boss looks like. And I'm like, that's not easy.
Yeah. And I give you a lot of credit, because it is difficult when you're talking about someone's appearance. It's such a personal thing for them that a lot of times they are attached to. In my line of work, I've had to have those conversations to say, like, someone's not dressing appropriately for their body type. And it's, those are really tough conversations to have with people because, it's so hard. And, because you never want to come across like you're making someone, feel bad. And you wonder sometimes, like, do they not see it, or do they not care? And a lot of times
Right.
they don't see it. This is just how they've always done things, and no one's even brought it up to them.
Yep.
So it is.
It's
I give
tricky.
you a lot of credit. It is
I
tricky.
I cut my
Absolutely.
teeth doing that with custom suits where you're measuring and everything else, and you get really good at figuring out how to euphemistically get the point across, where it's like you're still being as kind as possible, but actually communicating what needs to be communicated, and it's a skill set to learn for sure.
Yeah.
Is this is one thing like where I now work also with women, and I worked with men for a much longer period of time here.
Mm-hmm.
So my piece is far more with my guys, but women they're teaching me a lot of stuff. So I give
Yeah.
my male warriors a lot of praise. Um, is this one of the reasons where like you have you ever like you said cut your teeth working with women before and go, I can't, this isn't my field. Have you ever gotten sucked in where a wife or a female is like, can you help me too?
Dude, the most consistent question that I get on like Instagram DMs or anywhere else is, do you do this for women, or do you know somebody who does this for women? And I have tried. I've tried with my wife. I tried with my old nutrition coach. I've tried, dude, it is like teaching a fish to fly or a bird to
Mm-hmm.
swim. Like it is so different between men and women. And I would make so much more money if I figured out how to do this for women, but part of me really just loves doing it for the guys, especially because most guys don't. They're very, there's an antipathy for this, and then when they cross the threshold and realize that it does matter, they really start to fall in love with what the process is, and I love helping them go through that whole process. And so for
Mm-hmm.
me, yeah, the money would be appealing. Figuring it out, just like that gnawing at my brain, like what is different about this, and why doesn't this work the same way? Like that would be super satisfying. So maybe in another life, but do you ladies are totally different creatures when it comes to this stuff.
Oh,
It
yeah. I get it.
we had to change our entire program over because I had it built for men. And so
Yeah.
when I've got women who jump in, they're like, we can do it. We're just as good. And as soon as they started going in, they're like, so much resistance. And I'm like, it's built for men.
Yeah, and that's it. It's
This
not
is
that you're
my program.
bad or that you're not just as good. It's just a different program that has different goals, different assumptions, different histories, different proclivities, and that's a beautiful thing that should all be embraced.
Where there's different curses put on men than women. And that's something that I learned when we were going through. Like men usually, especially in the law system, get caught in an anger cycle because this is the
Mm-hmm.
only expression we're allowed to have with any type of respect.
Yep.
And women get caught in denial, which is more of the identity or the protection mechanisms that get put in for their personas. This is makeup. This is the fashions that they'll have. This is the groups that they try to adhere to, keep up with their friends. There's a whole different set of denial. This is like the fake eyelashes and all the different augmentations, plastic surgery, all the pressures to look. The burden of beauty is what
Right.
it would be, where guys have burden of performance.
Yep.
Why guys are like, dude, tell me what I got to do to perform better. And women are like, if you're trying to tell me to perform, that's not going to give me what I'm looking for. I need the burden of beauty, but I need it to be an authentic version. So how long do my eyelashes need to be so I can be authentic? And how big
Right.
do my boobs need to be authentic? And how big's my butt got to be authentic? And then what outfit to be authentic? And you're like, I don't think you're understanding what authentic.
Those are not the right questions.
And so it's a tricky curse for us. We got a whole video I'd share with you where our ladies they were asking me like about the makeup curse. What is there with
Hmm.
makeup? And it's really, and this is where I get into the team sport. We attack a lot of these problems where you need like a coach, someone like you or someone like us, who goes like, you got to understand, it's a team sport out there. And what I mean by that is doubt, fear, bargaining, denial. These guys all team up on you.
Yeah, yeah. They're
They
not fighting
create
against each other. They're teaming up.
they create a combination curse on you, and you think you're just gonna fight it alone. Like it's a team sport. They want to team up, we team up,
Yeah.
and that really helps because finding your authenticity, and this is why in your job I give you credit. Finding authenticity is a true challenge with the
Mm-hmm.
amount of pressures that's put on people from the curses of society.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah. Amy, you said what are pieces that you consider classic for the male wardrobe? which also does lead to the timeless thing. I'll be real with you. I would love your opinion. You said there are timeless outfits or timeless things. Listen, my monkey brain on that one does not know what you're talking about. What does that mean? Because
well, and even that
what
is
is the
limited
classic
because
male wardrobe?
timeless is a trap, because there is nothing that we wear today that men in any civilization would have worn 500 years ago or 1,000 years ago. There's nothing that we wear today that men in any civilization in another 500 or another 1,000 years are going to wear. So even when we talk about timelessness, we're talking about something that exists within maybe 3 or 4 generations. 4 is pushing it, right? And so the easiest way to be able to determine timeless pieces is going to be to look at things that have existed over the past 7 or 8 decades and have still been popular within those time frames. So you can go watch old movies from the 50s. Guys are still wearing jeans, t-shirts, and Chuck Taylors. You can see Ray-Ban Wayfarers. You can see military issue pea coats or top coats or trench coats. You can see like Adidas Stan Smiths that have been popular shoes since the 70s, or even the Jordans that have been popular since the 90s. And like, as you get closer and closer to something that's current, it gets harder and harder to suss out what's timeless. But a lot of pieces are things that have existed for a long time, especially for men if you pull from a military provenance or like a rugged workwear provenance, because that's the kind of stuff that has a tendency to really like get root in the cultural zeitgeist and then expand beyond that. Like, I'm wearing a t-shirt and a field jacket. The t-shirt was issued during World War II, and this field jacket is based off of something that was done in the Vietnam War. You know, these jeans are the same style that would have existed in the 1800s, even though they're a little bit slimmer. And my desert boots are something that would have existed 150 years ago with the British military. And so they're all timeless pieces in that they've met that criteria of longevity, and most of them are military origin or workwear origin instead. Yeah.
Yeah, gosh, I think that as far as timeless goes, even us, I think right now we're wearing the same kind of shoes they wore probably thousands of years ago.
You going barefoot?
Yeah,
Crocs?
we're barefoot today.
Yes. Beautiful.
I got work
That's the way to
pants,
do it.
no shoes. That's the beauty too. This is where I also do want to say, you mentioned also, there's a funny trend change when the requirements or the needs start to change based on your careers or your jobs. And now with Zoom videos being a thing, as long as your business on top, the bottoms start to become very either unique,
optional,
casual, optional. Yeah, things start to become interesting. So what are some of the funny stories you're seeing with that?
Oh, dude, I mean, I've done this myself where I had a group call with my guys yesterday morning, and I had Muay Thai before that. And so I get home and I'm talking to my wife and I'm helping out with the kids. The next thing I know, it's like, crap, I got to get on a call with my guys in 5 minutes. And so I run upstairs and I throw on a jacket over my t-shirt, and I make sure that I've got like my watch and my rings on so I look at least somewhat put together. But I'm still in my Muay Thai shirts and barefoot. So I'm sure if you were to like take a profile pic of me, there's this dissonance between top and bottom, but it worked for the call. And so, I mean, ideally you're not doing that, because the mental aspect of getting dressed for work, that's part of clocking in, and then changing your clothes can be part of clocking out. This is stuff that we talked about with you guys on Tuesday, where there really is this like mental component of crossing the threshold or clocking in, and your clothing can help contribute to that. But I'm like the rest of you in that I will take advantage sometimes of that tight window that gets even tighter when you're on Zoom instead of having to commute to the office somewhere. And sometimes what's on top is not the same as what's on bottom.
One thing that I've seen Rick do, and as he started getting busier, he made a comment, and I know this doesn't relate to you now, but when he has his shoes on, he's like, feels like he's on. And so he'll go through phases where he'll like dress up and he has a different walk to him and it's noticeable. And then when he has his workout clothes on, that's a different energy. It's very interesting to see.
Well, that's kind of like we were talking with Perry, where it's like when he's at a meet and he's wearing a singlet versus in shorts and a t-shirt, his mindset is totally different. And I guarantee that if he were wearing that singlet while at jury duty, he would feel absolutely ridiculous, right? And so your clothing very much can help you be present or remove you from being present in whatever it is that you're doing. And you want to calibrate it so it can help you be present in what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
One of the things I see is also one of the power items that our guys wear, and I know Phil's wearing them right now. It's the Pooh Bear like pajama pants, and so I see right now Phil's Pooh Bearing it right now. So way to go! It's a lot of confidence, brother. Way to represent the Warriors in your Pooh Bear pajama pants.
So silly.
It feels like you can. This is pretty awesome, man. I do really, I honor you, and I'm very grateful and thankful for the time that you had and the patience with the internet gods. I'm sorry I didn't do enough prayers to them today to make it work. So
hey, we got it figured out.
Yeah, it was just funny. It's, you know what, I can't wait to just post that stuff up. But also, how can people get in touch with you if they're like, I really like what he's saying, and I want to like find myself in this, and I want to work with him too, and get my looks the way that makes me feel the most confident and authentic in myself. How do they find you, and what do they have to do?
Yeah, the easiest way to do it is I'm super active, more so on Twitter and Instagram, but I'm working on getting more on TikTok. It's all the same. It's at Tanner Guzy. And I respond to almost all of my DMs. And so if you're interested in working with me, give me a follow, shoot me a DM. We can talk a little back and forth about what you're looking for. And then if we think we can be a good fit, we'll schedule a call to kind of talk further about what it looks like. Other options are you can check out my book, The Appearance of Power. You can find it on Amazon, or if you're an audio book person, it's on Audible. Really good way to kind of like just start to dive into and understand what these principles are and how this applies. And then the main site is masculine-style.com, and you can go check that out there.
Yeah, man. Awesome. Now, we still have a little more time left. We can keep going all night if you want to, but I know you said you had a time limit. I want to respect that. So
yeah, which I appreciate. I do need to jet, but I would love to come on another time and hopefully have fewer internet issues, because this has been a lot of fun, and I'd love to be able to continue this at another chance with you guys. So I appreciate you letting me come on and hang out.
Yeah,
absolutely,
of course. And what we're going to do too is we're going to post this up. So I'll grab this video tomorrow and post this up so people can just get more of us all working together. And then looking forward to doing some stuff with you in the future too, to help out your guys in any way we can. So, hey,
fantastic.
Team, dream work, brother. So, like I said, we salute you, Warriors. Yes. It's glad to have you in here with us. And thank you so much, Tanner. It's been
thanks, guys.
All right. Have a good night.
Right,
thank you.
You too. Talk to you guys soon. See ya.
Bye.
Very awesome. All right. That was cool, guys. That was very cool. I saw some of you guys had some very cool questions in there. We got a little bit more time. If you guys want to keep going, we can add some value for anybody in who wants to ask some questions. Otherwise, I do want to do a little bit of help that we can do, even from what we do.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff that we do helps out people a lot. And I want to get into something that I've been just thinking about a lot more recently, and I've had a couple of my top coaches while we're working through this. We're pretty impressed that we're able to break this thing down. It's an A word that freaks a lot of people out. In fact, it freaks people out to the point where they get paralyzed and don't want to do anything. And the A word is anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about anxiety for a little bit. Let's teach people and give people some tools here to kick anxiety's ass. First off, let's make sure we're helping out our people. Christy, what do you got here? Oh, I'm going to fix the view. Boom. There we go. All right. That was great. Need more help with the ladies' side. I have no aesthetic except for makeup. Listen, our female warriors. Yeah, there you go. There you go, Ty. I see you. 50K. Let's go. Andrea, this would be up to you. Like, if you guys want to do like some tips and stuff for her.
Yeah, I could do a little makeup Zoom if you guys want to. I know the ladies in the last class asked about it too. I wouldn't mind doing that. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's just there's a little help here, a little help there. Every little bit helps out. So that sounds actually kind of cool.
Yeah, that would be fun, actually.
Yeah. Yep. In which case, yes. We can do that.
Yeah, so
we can do that. We'll put it in with the Warriors women. And that's kind of a cool way.
Yeah.
War paint makeup is the plan. I need you guys doing like just the lines underneath.
Yeah. No, I can teach you how to enhance your features without changing your features. And that is the key to makeup. Let's enhance your features. Let's not change them. So.
No, I'm not Pooh Bearing, Ty.
What does that mean?
Just wearing the Winnie the Pooh pajama pants.
Oh, yeah. No.
I'm not wearing the pajama pants. So let's question anxiety stuff. Because also cool request. Thanks, Christy. And we'll request has been granted. We will make the thing for you. But I was actually thinking about how we can break this down for what is happening with anxiety. Now, when it comes to that, this is really just a fear-based thing. And what we mean is fear is a possible future that may or may not ever happen. And most of the time it doesn't happen. It's just something that could happen. Now, anxiety starts to happen when you start running into the future possibilities, with multiple unsolved options. What if this happens? What if this goes wrong? What if they say this? What if this blows up in my face? What if I fail here? What if they hate me? What if they laugh in my face? What if this goes up? And all these things that what if, and I hate this, and this could go bad, that could go wrong, and this is not good.
Even then with kids too, not even about yourself, even with kids.
Mm-hmm. What if I screw it up? What if I hurt them? What if I mess up their dreams? What if I goof up their motivation? Yeah. What if?
Yeah.
We get into all these possible futures, all this could happen, that could happen, this could happen. And anxiety is you living in the future. This means if you are doing this, odds are you have a uniquely powerful or a very powerful creativity or an imagination system. This means you have a power or a gift or a skill that's very, very, very powerful, and you may not know how to control it because it controls you.
Yeah, I'm get rid of that gift. I don't want it.
Well, with training, it's really useful. It's very, very cool. But without training, it runs your life to the point where there's so many things that can go wrong. I do nothing. If I go there, they could hate me, or they could make fun of me, or I might just be sitting there by myself, and I don't know anybody, and I don't know this, and you know what? I'm just not going to go.
Mm-hmm.
I'm skipping it. I'm just going to stay home, and I'll watch TV because nobody's going to make fun of me there, and it's fine. And you'll work your way out of doing anything and do nothing, and I call that paralysis by possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
You're paralyzed by the possibilities.
Yeah.
All the things that could happen make me so I do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm paralyzed, stuck. Now, I've even seen people also go into panic attacks and have full physical shutdowns. What is happening when you're doing that? Why is that happening? Why is my body doing these things? There is a reason why we have that mechanism inside of us. It's the same thing that happens if an animal is getting chased by a lion or something. There's a survival mechanism that kicks on inside of us to be aware of danger and to accommodate correctly, be in high alert mode, be paying attention, be ready because you have to survive something here and there. Now, the issue is that if you have an overactive or a powerful or an untrained imagination creativity system, you're able to stay in that mode even when there's no danger. An animal being chased, after it gets away, will calm back down and will go into all right, let's eat, let's procreate, let's do whatever mode it would be for animal mode. With people, the same thing happens as being chased by a lion, but it could be taxes. It could be work requirements or workload. It could be stress with your schedule. It could be relationship issues, and it keeps you in being chased by a lion state.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you. It can be the paralysis thing. And one thing that, because I've struggled with this in moments, I'm the person that's I'm around people all day. If someone asks me to do anything, I'm I don't really want to. But every time I do, it's like going to the gym. I feel better once I do. And I like to be with people. It's just the thought of it sometimes. I don't want to have to do that. And so you do get into almost like a paralysis. So there's no movement at all.
Mm-hmm.
The catchy thing is, at least for myself, when I take the step forward to make the action and finish it and do it, it's done. That's what makes sense to me. So if I'm worried about a schedule, I'm okay, how can I work on this to get it done? then that anxiety is done with, and then you move on to the next thing. So like sitting that paralysis part of it, not doing anything, is not helpful.
Correct. Also depends on your personality type.
Oh.
Because not everybody operates under, then you just get it done. Like, I wish that like both anxiety and depression worked like, just do it.
No, but I'm speaking from a point of like, I do have anxious moments, and I know when I'm not doing anything, and well, I am doing something, I'm just worrying about it. I'm sitting there worrying about it. But I know if I can take action and do something about it, I will feel better. So that's all I was saying.
You're right. One thing I love about you, baby.
What?
Is you go right to the end of the book. You don't have to worry about the middle of it.
Yeah. I don't know how to get there. Just this is what's happening.
You just do
what's happening. Yeah.
So Melissa, there's two different things I see you asked a couple of times, like how can I get help for it? Where I learn to control this gift? Just a couple things for it. First, we do train this, and it is an advanced training when I do get to this. So you have to have the basics and understanding fear and doubt and being able to control that imagination system before I teach you the advanced version. Now, first, let's get into I'll give you a piece of it here so you have at least something to work with. What is anxiety? Anxiety, the answer to anxiety means I don't know the answer yet. Like, it sounds very simple, but simplicity is genius whenever you beat some of these things. I don't know yet. That's actually the answer. Here's how you can test it. Melissa, in the past, have you ever had a thing that gave you anxiety, whether it be asking someone out or asking for a promotion or giving a speech in front of people, or I have to learn a new skill or start a new job or learn how to drive, and there's so many variables that can go wrong? Has anything in your past been like a high anxiety thing that like this event or this thing that I have to do, it's freaking me out? Now, when you look back at one of those events, giving a speech, asking someone out, learning a skill, even like your first day on the job 10 years ago or 5 years ago or whatever it was, if you look at that problem now, does that situation still give you anxiety right now? Or is it like, no, I don't really think about that much anymore. I'm past that part. That doesn't give me anxiety anymore. Which is it? Still have anxiety over a speech from 5 years ago? Or don't think about that. I'm on to the speech I got to give next week that's freaking me out. Do you still have anxiety from the past events that you already know how they go? I'm waiting because this chooses which direction I take this conversation. So I'm waiting. Melissa, we are all waiting for your magic fingers to type out this awesome answer. I feel like it's going to be more than one word, and I'm excited. Okay. I don't think about it. Perfect. This means your anxiety is curable without medication. I am putting it out there for anybody who wants to get into the Pepsi challenge with your boy. You give me anybody who has a thing like Melissa that just said, I have anxiety, but when I look at the past stuff that used to give me anxiety, I don't think about it anymore. You are curable. I can help you beat that because I teach you how it works. Christy, you and I are going to go into battle on this soon anyway, so I will show you how to do it. Now, what I mean by that is if you understand how fear works, and if you understand how I don't know yet gives you actual empowerment towards curiosity, when you start mastering the skill of essentially closing out all of the possibilities that could go wrong and getting it down to the main ones that you're like, okay, this is what to be prepared for. When you start to master this skill, this goes into clairvoyance. What that means is you can actually start to see into the potential futures, live through the moment in your mind, learn the lessons that you would learn from that, and then shut those windows down. This means you can learn from 50 to 60 or 100 different things that you would have going through your mind and then learn like, okay, if that happens, I would deal with it. If that happens, I would deal with it that way. If that happens, I would deal with it that way. This, not enough information, so close that. Not enough info, it's the future, I don't know, close that. Like if you get to where you can close it down, you can learn a whole bunch of lessons just from how to figure out potential things that go wrong based on your problem solving, your resourcefulness, and your creativity. This means whatever happens, you'll be prepared for it and curious, not anxious. You'll be excited, like, I wonder which thing it's going to be because I know I'm ready to handle whatever's going to come up. I'm ready for it. This means I don't know yet becomes a good thing. Now, it requires training because it probably takes us about a month to 2 months of really digging in on this. And you're like, okay, now I'm mastering, because the repetition can be very stressful because obviously it's coming from a triggered mechanism that makes you go, I'm freaking out, I'm freaking out, I'm freaking out. You have to get the things under control there to make it so you can find your confidence and authenticity towards handling issues in your fighting style and your warrior style. And then you go, I'm actually really excited to see what's going to happen because I'm ready for anything. That's what we do in the Warriors Way. So if you want to book a call with us, Melissa, it'd be cool to have you like work with us. We're signing up the next women's group now. By next month, we're going to be having another women's group up and running. It's already halfway filled. We only take 8 women. So like if you want to jump in, book a call. We'll have a conversation with you. Looking forward to it. I know
the link's at the top.
Yeah, it's in our bio.
Yeah. It's in our bio.
Or if you want to start DMing immediately, you can go to our Instagram, which is the EIC at the Warriors Way. And you can go in there and you can just start DMing us and we can get you set up from there also.
EpiPen, your comment is very relatable to me. It's finally accepted that my job is not my identity. I can still be called a man without that career. That's powerful.
It's very hard because us guys generally are associated with and or identified with what we do.
Yeah.
Which is really difficult, especially during the COVID time when guys were losing their jobs or businesses were closing down. I was seeing a lot of depression that were coming along because your identity was just stripped away from you, and women were leaving guys because of it.
Ugh.
That was really tough. They were like, man, my business got shut down. My dream got shut down. And she's like, well, who are you if you're not that? I can't be with you without that. That was a real thing guys had to face.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, wait on you, EpiPen, to be able to go, like, it's weird to call somebody EpiPen.
Yeah.
But wait, good on you to be able to go, like, I have removed myself as my identity is my job, and I'm able to start accepting myself as the authentic version that I am.
Yeah. How did you get to that acceptance of knowing that? I'm curious.
Thanks, Ty.
Like and subscribe, like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Like and share, like and share. And like Christy, I see you hammering the like button. I appreciate you there for that also. Phil, I see that Christy's taking over for you there. She's crushing it.
Yeah. Just wait till the 3rd quarter of this year. What does that mean?
I don't know.
What does that mean? I learned, so EpiPen is back. So he said, I learned that providing for my family and having time with them is top priority.
Mm-hmm.
Good. That's hard.
It's a bit, depending on his personality type too. Like if he's a type 3 like you, to be able to shift it from like what I am is my achievements to like what I am is based on what I can provide for my family as a good father.
Yeah.
Like that's a different shift.
Yeah. EpiPen, have you ever taken the Enneagram test? If so, what's your number? If not, that's okay.
If not, do it.
Do it and tell us.
Do it now.
Yeah. That's a big thing. It is hard. It is hard when you are a provider for your family. And it's not that you don't want to be with your family. It's that you know that providing for them is also important too. It was difficult stepping away. I did it right out of high school for 10 years. I'm a 2, actually.
Oh, all right.
I bet you're a 2-3, though.
Probably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 2-3 wing. Most
for
likely,
sure.
especially
Makes
if
sense.
you had that system. But also, it is heavily pushed just on men in general to have to because remember, when guys meet each other, like, hey, good to meet you. What do you do, bro? It's like the first question. So like it's not too crazy for men just in general to be associated with what they do, because all of us, it's the first question when you meet a guy. So what's your thing? What do you do? And it usually goes to, where do you work, or what kind of work do you do?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not too crazy just to say just being a man, period. It is the first thing that guys ask each other.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right.
So this may not be just, not just his wing, which it could easily be a 3-wing, but it could also be a 1-wing, and that could also fall into it too.
Absolutely, it could.
So it'd be interesting to know.
But yeah, your wings, well, we can help you through that, Christy, too. It's interesting. One thing that I was telling Rick this week is that when a lot of people start the Warrior's Way, and Phil, you'll enjoy this too, because I think you can relate to this, but when people start the Warrior's Way and you're going through Know Thyself, right? And there's multiple different things that you're really diving into and understanding. A lot of times when people take the Enneagram quiz, they type as a certain number, right? But what's been happening is that people are retaking the test and they're typing as a different number.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that happens is because you are when you start the program, you're perceiving yourself as who you know yourself to be, right?
Or who you want to be,
right? Yeah. Or how you handle things. And so as you get to know yourself, know the real you start answering the questions more authentically. And that's when the number comes out that is probably more of who you are. Mm-hmm. So many people mistype. And it's very interesting to see that progression. And we were just talking about that this week, because most people will say, I'm this one. But there is a lot to the Enneagram than clearly just the number. There's a lot of personal development that goes on with the Enneagram and the different ways that you're typed.
Very true. Yeah. It goes really, really deep. But yeah, we've had the same thing. We've had to go into, like, there's so many options to everything from wings to tri-types to
subtypes,
subtypes
and it can change everything
to the 10 different levels of healthy to unhealthy within each one. Yeah. It gets complicated. So
it can get complicated, but really the idea is you can read through all of them, all the different numbers, and really pick out what's really what resonates with you, and then from there start building on top of, like, different qualities, different things that resonate with you to make up who you are, and then you'll find out your number. So
you're gonna start losing people. You're going deeper.
Am I?
Yeah.
I don't think that was deep.
Well, when you start getting into all the different, because it's terminologies people don't know yet.
Oh.
I do it all the time.
Yeah, you said tri-types, so I was like, okay, that's what
I'm just saying we're not getting into it, but it's just one of those things, like, there's so many different terminologies. Well,
Christy's about to get into it, so that was for her.
It was only for Christy. Fair enough.
Yeah. But there is a link. There's one that you can pay for, but I wouldn't do that. You can go, there's a free app you can actually download. It's Enia app. I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's what they were asking. What's the app for it?
Right.
You guys can do that now. It doesn't take very much time.
No. And
Jason, I'm with you, bro. You're an 8-5 wing, which is, the wings are a little different than that. So you're either a 7 or a 9 wing. But I am kind of this is my personal opinion. Yeah. I know that she doesn't necessarily agree, because she's more certified in that part than me, but just my experience in working with people, I kind of go off of, like, what are their next highest pieces, or I lean more towards the tri-type thing versus the wings. This is just where I'm standing. And it's liable. I'm just like Marcus Aurelius. I reserve the right to change my mind with new information. But as it stands, Jason, I'd probably lean more towards you're an 8 with 5 tendencies. And that seems to be more accurate for how people work versus going like, you're either a peacekeeper or you're the...
Yeah, you'll find that you relate to one core number the most, and that's where you'll start. But I can look at every single number of the Enneagram 1 through 9 and relate to something about every single one. It's just as you're continuing to grow and working on your personal development, you'll start to understand that kind of which numbers are going to speak to you the most. Yeah. And that's really what it's about. It's not really for anyone to tell you, like, well, I don't see that, you're this. No, it's really up to you to do the work, figure it out.
Do you see what he said?
Yeah, 5 under stress.
That's part of the tri-type thing. Because I go to 5 when I'm stressed also, and I go to 3 when I'm doing well. but I'm also an 8, so I'm with you, Jason.
Mm-hmm.
Which also, if you want to have a good talk about like moving into the healthy version of what the challenger or leader type is, it took me a long time to get through that one, man. So I'll be happy to work with you on that one. That's no problem.
Yeah. Here's the
it's real talk though.
Yeah, and 8s naturally go to a 5 when they're stressed out.
Mhm.
That's what they naturally do. Now, is it a healthy version of a 5? Probably not.
Probably more isolating, more like getting in our own stuff, trying to maybe research our way out of it, or just dig into like
get stubborn.
We dig in.
Yeah.
Disappear.
Yeah. So, very, very interesting though. But
yeah, Jay, it'd be cool just to hang too. Let's just talk. If you want,
keep telling you that.
We keep telling you, book a call so we can hang out. Yeah. I don't know if we did or not. You may have talked to Matthew. Some of these calls I can't be on. So
yeah.
If you did talk to Matthew, like book another call and we can do that. 9's the peacemaker, the peacekeeper, like a peacemaker. So that's what the 9 is, Christy. That's more of like the mediator type, the person who seeks peace. It's going to be more into that area.
It can be, depending on, I'm telling you, the
health level. Yeah,
well, not only the subtypes. Yeah, if you're self-preservation, sexual or social, will change your number drastically in the meaning that you're able to, I guess that resonates with you, because it can be, it can change it.
Fair enough.
Dramatically.
That's true. That's very true. Maybe in a social 8 is very different than a sexual 8. That's very true.
Very different.
That's very true.
Yeah, and all numbers. Yeah.
So it gets deeper. Listen, one thing that we're going to be adding to the program is the ability to have time with Andrea to help you see if you mistyped, really see if it's your accurate number, and then give you a little bit more insight. This is something we're adding for our warriors. So if any of you are interested in joining in and getting involved in the Warriors Way culture, we did just also open up new entry-level spots. So if you can't jump in and do a program with us, but you still want to get involved in some of the content, the information, and some of our culture and become a warrior yourself, you can just click the link in the bio or message us on Instagram, and we'll send you right to the spots to get you plugged in with our warrior culture and start putting you into the stuff to help you move that direction. But we are just like you. We're always evolving, always getting better, and always seeing what we can do more to help you get to where you want to go with more efficiency and faster and more authentically. So
absolutely,
that's a big part of it. Oh, geez, Jason, you're a gangster, bro. You got his vasectomy today.
I see that.
Holy smokes. Enjoy your icing.
I mean, I don't see that, but I hear that.
Yeah, can you send us, can we go live and you can...
Oh my gosh, no. All right, I have to get going. You can stay on.
All right.
If you want to. Are you going to stay on? I have to go pick up one of my daughters.
You know what? I think this has been a good day. We're going to post this for Tanner. Hopefully we get to help some people out with some very cool stuff. Book a call if you want some time with us. I'm going on vacation this week, so it's going to be just Andrea by herself.
I'm not doing this thing by myself.
I'm just kidding. If I do end up
I'll answer your messages if you message us. But
I would have a different Andrea on, and by that it would be more of an Isaiah if we did go on, who's our number 2 in our operations, and he's pretty fun. So him and I will be in Utah this week, and so if we did decide to go live, it would be a different person, and we'd probably have a very different video than "Hey Babe."
I hope so, because that would be friggin' weird.
It would make it weird immediately.
I'd be like, so we're not together anymore?
Baby, I ain't never leaving. You and me together forever. Forever.
That's true. You heard it here first.
You heard it here. It's on TikTok. It means it's forever. Everybody knows that.
Oh my gosh. All right, I gotta go.
All right. Thank you
Good
guys
to see
for the
you guys.
likes. Thanks for the time.
Absolutely.
Thanks for hanging out. Thank you, Tanner, for spending time with us and giving some more insight and help for others. And to all my warriors out there, we're looking forward to growing with you. Remember, book a call. We have so much cool stuff in the works that you can get plugged into, and we can help you guys get to where you want to go without having to fail forward for years. We'll show you what's worked best for hundreds to thousands of people to make it so you can get there sooner. In which case, we salute you all as warriors. I shall see all of you soon who decide to book calls. And way to go, warriors. We'll see you guys later.
Have a good night.
I'm heading.
Hi, Victoria.
Hey, Victoria. We saw you just jumped out.